Hello YouTube, it's Anime Hound here with
Kade Grievous
at the Dragon's Den. He's here with his fish that has two and...
I have finaled 3 times, and today's the only time I didn't final.
So two and 3.
Yeah, 2 and 3. I won 2 tournaments with it.
Yeah, so 2 and 3. That's not bad. So he's gonna give us a deck profile and basically what the deck's all about, and hope you guys enjoy.
Okay. We're going to start with 3 Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth. They're the deck's boss monsters. You need to run 3. Then you've got 2 Mobius. I run this in tandem with Treeborn Frog to get rid of oppressions. They're not necessarily required, but I'm liking them. 3 Royal Swamp Eel. They're definitely a must in a fish deck, especially for the Synchro Summoning because they are a tuner level 4. Everybody loves those for some reason.
Not to mention that they're useless to the opponent because he can only synchro with fish.
Exactly. The Tabo Shark is a new card in Sober. It can shuffle 2 fish that are in the graveyard back to the deck, recycling the previous Royal Swamp Eel. We got the 3 Oystermeister in the deck. They're just good. They're level 3 that can bring out another token if they're brought to the graveyard by means other than battle. Golden Flying Fish. The necessities of running 3 Meadowbow Sharks depends on whether or not you want to run Pot of Avarice, and I would say anywhere from 2 to 3 Meister depending, again, on your build. Golden Flying Fish, in terms of build number, you would need 1, maybe 2. I'm considering taking 1 out for another water type fish, but he's doing okay for now.
I think the middle one.
Running Treeborn for summoning the Coelacanth faster, and that's why I'm also running one of these, Fishborg Blaster. Gores, obviously. Plague is a good card. Dandelion is amazing with Foolish Burial and Woboku. 3 Mori of Greed. This card has created so many good things and bad things. I can say that you should run anywhere from 2 to 3. If you're going to run them, I would say run them if you're running at dedicated water, but the absolute 0 fish decks shouldn't be touching that card at all. Heavy Storm, Giant Tornado, and Cold Wave are my anti-spell and trap cards before I want to bring the thing out. And then of course you've got the other staple cards, Brain and Sark. I'm only running 1 Sark. 1 seems to be running good for now. 2 Foolish for previously mentioned Treeborn, Dandelion, and among other cards. 2 Star Blast. People have been saying 1 or 2 Star Blast. I would say I still stick with 2 because it's just good, but some people have been having some success with 1. Mirror Force and Torrential for obvious reasons. This deck used to run Threatenings, but because of the current flow of the game, Gladiator Beasts aren't as big as they used to be. So Woboku I've decided to choose because of the prevalence of Twilight and Blackwing. And of course, the Fish Destruction card, Fish Death Charge, destroys a card on the field as well as draws you another card for the simple sacrifice of a fish. Now to go into the deck's main strategy. Your objective, your main and primary objective, is to bring out this monster with any card in your hand and preferably a clear field. Given that you have this said clear field, your objective is to special summon 4 fish from your deck to your side of the field. Their effects are negated and they can't attack, but that doesn't mean they can't synchro summon. So naturally, you first synchro summon Oystermeister and Royal Swamp Eel into a 7. Namely, I don't know, Psychic Life Trance is what I usually go for, or Orbellum because of what you're going to be summoning later. Then, since Oystermeister produces a token, you can synchro summon Royal Swamp Eel and Golden Flying Fish and the token for the requirements for Mistworm, effectively clearing out whatever is remaining of your opponent's field if you cleared out their spells and traps. You really only want to pull this off if your opponent has no spells or traps, and you know that they can't negate the effect otherwise. Today I got freaking Herald of Orange lighted. I don't want to talk about that. This field right here deals 7,500 damage. If Plague's in the grave, you want to bring this guy out. Given that they don't have a Gores or a Trad, that's game. So an OTK right there. Other small strategies, ways to get him out. You've got your basic Treeborn and Fishborg come to mind, simply because at a simple discard you can bring back Fishborg, and essentially with 2 cards in the hand, these 2 in the graveyard, you have the requirements for this guy. Second strategy is Star Blast. You can pay life points in increments of 500 to lower a monster's level by the number of life points you multiplied it by. I don't know, there's got to be another better way to put that.
One level for every 500 points you sacrifice.
There you go. And you can either pay 15, this is essentially the full price of lowering him to a 4, or you can pay only 500 by having Treeborn on the field and lowering him to a 6. Star Blast is extremely amazing. Things that get in the way in this deck, namely Royal Oppression is the big one. I used to run my body as a shield, but I've kind of leaned towards Cold Wave because of my necessity of not having to pay life points to negate Oppression. But it kind of gets in the way. I'm still wondering whether or not it's good. Let's see. Oh, other strategies to bring him out. I'll get to that later. Other things that get in the way naturally. Main 2 Mobius to get around that Oppression, and as well as other spells that spell and trap destruction. Because the more I have, the better to get him out. Wobokus are in the deck primarily because Golden Flying and Oystermeister are a match made in heaven with Woboku. Not to mention Woboku is also another means of protecting what you need. For instance, Foolish Burial is in the deck to toss the aforementioned Treeborn and Fishborg, but it can also search out Dandelion and Plague, which can essentially do all sorts of wonderful things at the right time. But Foolish Burial, Dandelion, and Woboku are a wonderful combination, especially if you have a Coelacanth in hand. That right there is amazing. Let me see what else. You got your Brain Control to take control of your opponent's monster. Gores, of course, not only is good in general, but can also bring out 2 monsters. So when your opponent attacks, and they attack on the last one, you have 2 monsters ready. So really, for your primary objective is to get out that combo and make sure your opponent's backfield is completely clear. Moray of Greed. I could write an essay on this card. You can shuffle 2 water monsters in your hand back to your deck, which is an amazing thing, because if these are in your hand, you're sunk. You can't bring them back from the deck with Super Ancient, so you can turn them into 3 other cards. Because you send these back to the deck, and you discard this to draw 3 cards from the deck, which is downright amazing. And I don't run Avarice in this deck simply because I'm running 3 of these guys. Metabo Shark states that you can shuffle 2 fish monsters from the graveyard back into the deck, namely a previously discarded Royal Swamp Eel or Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth. I found that the priority for these really goes, if you don't have anything, if you had the priority here, if you summon Metabo, you should shuffle 1 of these back in for completely recycling if you only have 2 in. If you have 3 Royal Swamp Eel, you shuffle 2 in. If you have 2 of these and 1 of these, you shuffle 1 of each because you still have 2 left. And of course, if you have a Metabo, you want to just shuffle these 2 back in because Metabo is just able to recycle himself and just keep it all going. That's pretty much it, I think. I don't think I have anything else to say outside of, one more thing. One special Synchro monster this deck can run, and is highly advised, and why you would run Golden Flying Fish in the first place is Avenging Knight Parshat. Because you can actually use it with Golden Flying Fish and Royal Swamp Eel. When you've brought out the Coelacanth, an alternative strategy to the Coelacanth is to bring out 2 8s. If you know you can't kill the opponent, or if you know that your opponent has something down, it also does the damage. If you can clear out their entire field without even having to worry about that, you can deal 8,000 damage with it. But it's not advisable, and you should just bring out Avenging Knight Parshat and Stardust. And Stardust is another reason why you'd want to main Wobokus. Stardust and Woboku are again a match made in heaven. Alright, never mind. That was it. That's really nothing more I can say to the deck.
Alright, you guys were asking for it. You guys got it. That's the fish deck. There will be a link to the Pojo thread that him and his friends have been working on.
Yep.
So, I will get that to you. It'll be in the sidebar over here.
Okay.
And, well, if anybody you net deck, you better give credit where credit is due.
Indeed.
Alright? So, this is Anime Hound and...
Kade, Grievous, and his fish deck.
At Dragon's Den, out.